What's up, guys, and welcome to my very early review for Aquaman. It was a big surprise to me, as I'm sure it's a big surprise to you as well. I was able to see this movie extremely early. Very happy about that. So, here we go. We're talking about Aquaman, and this is the maybe sixth movie in the DCEU. And it stars our lead hero. He's reprising his role from Justice League with Jason Momoa coming back in to play Arthur Curry, and he finally has his standalone movie now, so we kind of get to see what happened to him after the Justice League, and you know what is kind of going on in his life now, how he actually is on a daily basis, what he does. We also get into his past, his backstory, and that's basically all I'll say without spoiling anything. And I will say right off the bat that this might be my favorite movie in the DCEU. I liked it more than Wonder Woman. God forbid I did. I thought that this movie, I think Wonder Woman was very good, but it kind of fell flat in the third act. The whole CGI action spectacle of it, I thought it just kind of fell flat with the villain and everything that was happening at the end of that film. But this movie, I feel like from beginning to middle and end, there's never a portion of the movie that I was like, oh, I didn't like that portion as much as the other two portions. I was into it from beginning to end, and I wasn't expecting to be as engaged. I think it's because of James Wan's direction. He really did a phenomenal job directing this movie. You could tell just by the way certain things are shot. It very much looks like a James Wan film at times, and I was totally into that. I love his other movies. I love the Conjuring movies, the first Insidious movie. You know, I love him as a director, and I think he did a great job with this movie. I mean, from the opening sequence of the film, like I said, I'm not spoiling anything here, but I was very interested into it. I was very invested into it, kind of the origins to everything that's going on here. There's an action scene that happens in the beginning of the movie that I was like, wow, this is like really well shot, really well choreographed. And I was like, this is probably going to be the standout fight scene of the movie. And then more action happens, and then more action happens, and then more action happens. And I was like, wow, every single action sequence in this movie is so well shot, so well choreographed, and I was just so immersed into this world. I think James Wan did a fantastic job introducing us to Atlantis and how we get immersed into that world. I was just totally into it from beginning to end. I think Jason Momoa is fantastic in the role. I think that he's cocky when he needs to be. He's likable when he needs to be. He's funny when he needs to be. And I was totally into him as our hero. And also we have Amber Heard in this movie. She's playing Mara, I believe that's the character's name. She's got the red hair and everything. And in the trailers, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about her character, but she's extremely likable. I think she's a very well-written character, and she has fantastic chemistry with Jason Momoa, I felt. And I was totally into their relationship. None of it felt forced to me. It didn't feel shoved down our throats. It felt very natural and very organic, because there's certain things that are going on with her character that, you know, plays out through the movie, and we kind of see what happens there, and it works for me. Now, the villain aspect of the movie maybe is something that I didn't love as much. I didn't dislike it. I think there's like two villains in the film. You've all seen the trailers. We have Patrick Wilson, who's playing King Orm. He's sort of like he wants to become the ruler of the seas and the land, and he just wants to take over everything. He's a kind of a cliched villain, but they don't really shove it down our throats as much, because he does kind of have a history that does connect to Aquaman's character, which I did really enjoy. And he wasn't a completely cliched villain, even though what he was trying to do was really not original. There's also another villain in the movie, Black Manta, I believe the name of the character is, and that is pretty much the only element of the film that I thought was forced. Didn't work for me. I didn't really dislike it per se, because when there is sequences going on with like action with this character, I was totally into it, and there's like really cool stuff that's going on. Like all the action in the movie I was totally into, and I loved all of it, and I thought it was great. But I do think the Black Manta character was kind of unnecessary, and what kind of happens to that character is kind of underwhelming, and how that all sort of concludes. So, you know, that's really one of the only aspects that I didn't really care for. But the rest of the movie I was into. I thought it was humorous when it needed to be humorous. I thought the humor worked. I thought the acting was great. We have Willem Dafoe is also in this film, and he's having a lot of fun. Dolph Lundgren is in this movie. I had no idea that he was in this movie, and I was like, wow, I think that he's actually giving a better performance in this movie than he did in Creed 2. So, say whatever you want about that, but I thought all the acting was great. James Wan really directed the hell out of this movie, and I think it's fantastic. This is one of my favorite comic book movies of the year. I think the score is also great, the instrumental score. There's like certain bits of the score that kind of reminded me of Thor Ragnarok, which I liked. And there's also a few nice tracking shots in the movie that really works for me. There's this one fantastic shot of action that happens in this movie. And I'm not going to spoil the setting or anything, but I will just tell you that it involves wine. There is something that happens that I was like, wow, that was awesome, and I was totally into it. And I don't really, like when I watch a movie, all the action, I don't really go, wow, that was awesome. Sometimes I will, but this was definitely one of those occasions, and I totally loved it. This might be my favorite DCEU movie. I did like it more than Wonder Woman. Do I like it more than Man of Steel? That's the question, and I totally think I had more fun with this movie. So, as of right now, I'm not going to say it, but it very, very well could be my favorite movie in the DCEU. And other than the Black Manta character that I didn't really care for, everything else I was totally into, and I'm giving this movie 4.5 out of 5 stars. I was totally into Aquaman. I thought it was great. The backstory, Nicole Kidman's in this movie, and she was good. And her character, I feel like it wasn't forced. I was totally into it. I was getting vibes of like How to Train Your Dragon 2. I was getting vibes of like certain things reminding me of like something that you'd see in like a Harry Potter movie. I really loved Aquaman, even more than Black Panther. I liked this movie more than Black Panther. If I'm comparing comic book movies of this year, this, Deadpool 2, and Avengers Infinity War are my 3 favorite comic book movies of the year. Black Panther would be number 4. I really loved this movie, but out of the bunch, I could understand why Black Panther is getting all the awards attention, just for the significance it has and what it did. I totally understand it. I have no issues with it whatsoever. I do love that movie as well. But yeah, I was really surprised how much I like this movie. So guys, comment your thoughts in the comment section. Do you plan on seeing Aquaman? If you saw it already, what are your thoughts about the movie? Are you excited about it? Also, you can subscribe to this channel for upcoming reviews that are coming up on this channel. Mortal Engines is a film that, if I don't have my review up on this channel already, it's coming very soon. I was able to see that early as well. There's going to be a whole bunch of other reviews. Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, The Mule, Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee. Very excited about all these films coming out, so you can check out reviews for those. Also, guys, you can follow me on Patreon if you want to help grow this channel, if you want to see me do more reviews, Blu-ray unboxings, game playthroughs, and walkthroughs, all that fun stuff. You could consider doing that. Also, you could follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The links to those are in the description of this video. You could also follow me on Instagram at KingOfRises131. Guys, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching my review for Aquaman. Over and out.